Friendly reminder, if you are looking for science-based powerlifting programming, look no further than the Team Roar training app. You can find the link to it in the episode description and also get 25% off of your first month using discount code, all capital, PL Ballads Podcast. Happy training.
Welcome to episode 201. Did you do a
201.
episode without me? Because I feel like we missed 200.
No, are you? Wow, your memory is shit.
It is
So
shit.
we literally talked about how it was a
Oh, that's right.
monumental
That's right.
episode that we did nothing fancy for. And then we talked about doing it in kilos. It was this
Mm,
whole thing that was a bunch of nothing that we talked about for a while.
man, it was so nothing that I forgot about it. So anyway, welcome
Exactly.
to episode 201. How are you, Josh? Is your brain working a little bit better than mine? Hope so.
But between the two of us, we probably are functioning at about 75% of a normal human.
It's true. You're probably sleep deprived, and I'm just running in a million directions at once. There you go.
Yep. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Oh, hey, this is totally random, but it just reminded me. I started watching the movie Paint. It's uh it's basically it's basically the portrayal of Bob Ross, but it's
Ah,
but it's not based on him at all. It's like the guy looks just like him and talks just like him and paints just like him, but it's like a fictional story just using him as inspiration for the movie. I'm only halfway through, but it's pretty darn good. I'm
oh,
really shocked.
okay.
He's
All
he's like
right.
this he's like this like hooking up with the different assistant every night. It's crazy. Like it just it's it if I wish I want it to be true so bad, but
Mm,
it's not.
not.
I looked it up and I didn't finish it yet. I'm only halfway because like we were watching it with the kids and it was bedtime, so we had to stop it.
And your kids are so young that they don't understand the context.
Eh, it's not that
It's not that graphic.
graphic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like the kid movies that have like the innuendos or whatever that aren't quite understood.
Right, right.
It's
It's more along that line.
more than that, but it's whatever. Anyway, the
Anyway,
only reason the only reason I thought of it is because something you said about the intro, like every time he finishes um his painting, he's like, "Thanks for going on a journey with me." And you said something that just like made me think of that, so I had to say it. Has nothing to do with anything, but
but that's how we roll. So
such as our podcast.
it's okay.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
Curling the deadlift follow up.
Yeah. So after our episode came out,
Mm,
which was episode 200, if you forgot, where we talked about the guy from Georgia Tech that curled his deadlift at collegiate nationals. Uh, Apparently, other people have been doing this now, except the last one I saw like opened at 25 kilos and then jumped to like 27 and a half and then passed it and then did it again and passed it, which was kind of a shit move because it made the spotters and loaders unload the entire deadlift for nothing.
mm, yeah, right.
But anyway, the point of it, I had some people reach out from the technical committee of USA Powerlifting and said that this 100% is not allowed. And they cited Rule
Mm,
1.1.2, where basically it says the rules, policies, and procedures outlined in this rule book are prescriptive in nature, describing what is allowed as such, unless specifically listed as allowed, exceptions, variances, and alternatives are not allowed. So the
mm,
question is, how did this pass at the meet and why didn't the jury do anything? Well, if you go to the YouTube link for Collegiate Nationals, you can find it at USA Powerlifting. It was day 4, session 2, platforms 3 and 4. This guy was lifting on platform 4, but at the 2 hour, 36 minute, and 20 second mark, which is right when he does this curl, you can see the jury members because it's a split screen. You can see the jury members actually on platform 3 dealing with a different issue. So
mm.
they actually did not see the curl on platform 4. So therefore they could not do anything about it or probably were not even aware that it happened. So it
Um,
passed 2-1. The technical committee has informed me that it should not have passed, and had the jury
mm,
been not dealing with another issue on platform 3, then it would likely have been overturned.
nice. So
So
there was I did watch his video, the lifter, can't remember his name now.
Daniel Tukalski.
Thank you. I watched his video and he does talk about this where he says, in the rule book it says that, if unless specifically listed as allowed, exceptions, variances, and alternatives are not allowed. So he's like, specifically, I wondered if that would catch me, and it sounds like it should have.
Yeah, and leave it to a Georgia Tech kid to run through every scenario possible
Mm.
and figure out what can and can't be done. But yeah, so anyway, official ruling cannot do that. It should have been a red light with a yellow card was the
So
official ruling.
just to clarify, if the jury members had been watching at that time, and everyone kind of looked at each other and gave them a 2 out of 3 gave them a white, would the jury have overturned it right then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if somebody had to protest and go to the jury to get the jury involved.
Now the jury's in place to basically quality control. So if blatant rule violations or missed calls or whatever happen, that's what they're in place for. So yeah, you can go to the jury to protest and initiate a challenge, but the jury has full authority to
Mm,
correct a mistake without an
okay.
intervention. In the rule book, rule 6.3.10 says if a serious mistake occurs in the refereeing, which is contrary to the technical rules, the jury may take appropriate action to correct the mistake.
Right.
So,
Yeah. My AI just came back with the same.
yeah. So yes, the jury can act without a formal protest. So going back to that, yes, they would have overturned that. So Daniel Tukalski, he
Got
snuck
lucky.
one in.
Nice. I did really like the video that I watched from him, by the way, just how he
Yeah,
explains it and kind of how he talked about making a memorable event for himself. I thought it was kind of
yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. Like, and he had a blast. Like he got it passed.
Yeah.
It will likely never pass again. So like he's one of the only.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he snuck it in and now it's probably going to be make it into the rule book
Yeah, probably. Well, that's he even said that. Like he said he wanted to like hopefully
of the
be
have
be
the rule
be
be named after him.
well that, but just be responsible for the
Oh,
the
yeah,
change or whatever. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah. As a member of USA Powerlifting, I think he should propose the rule himself, really.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, we
I
digress.
I never did see the actual video of it, so maybe you could
Oh,
link in the
yeah,
podcast
I'll link
notes.
it in the podcast and I'll send it to you directly too.
Yeah, because I'm like, I really want to see this. And I actually tried to find it and I could not find it. So
And he had no socks on, like for that. That was the best part.
that is
Like
so
that
funny.
that clearly violates the rules.
Yes,
He
curling the deadlift without socks
yep,
definitely
yep.
violated the rules, but no one even caught it.
Yeah, I know. That's the funny part.
Oh gosh. All
Anyway,
right. So this weekend, what's going on?
Savannah Spring Classic in Savannah, Georgia. Tracy Cook's running it at the Anderson Cohen Weightlifting Center. So that should be a good meet. It's sold out a while ago. It's one session, 45 lifters, so three flights of 15. Should be a good meet. This was the much anticipated release, I guess. I think Saturday, the day before Easter, it was on the website, the Raw Nationals website, that the schedule would be released on that Saturday. And it finally came out. And it's the disclaimer there is it's tentative and subject to change. But up until Saturday, there were no even preliminary schedules. So people didn't know when they were lifting. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Thursday, the 26th, session one is going to be the 44 to 60 kilo women. Session two will be the men 52 to 75 kilo. Friday, session one is going to be the women 65 and 70 kilo classes. And session two will be the men 82, 5 to 90. Saturday is going to be session one will be the women 75 and 82. And then session two will be the men 100 and 110 kilo. And then Sunday is going to be session one will be the women 90 kilos and up. And session two will be the men 125 kilos and up. And each of those days, the third session is going to be the primetime session. So
And was there a change with Masters this year?
no, that goes into effect next year.
Next
So
year. Okay.
next year, Masters will not be part of Raw Nationals or Equipped Nationals. They will have their
Masters
own national
Nationals.
meet, which
Right.
I do not like. I do not like that, but that's apparently what's happening.
It used to be that way, right? If I'm
Yeah,
remembering right.
a long time ago, before there was Raw and Equipped, it was just
Oh,
Equipped.
okay.
They had a separate meet for all age groups, so it was like
Right.
well, actually, men's and women's were separate too for a
Yeah,
while,
right.
but
Yeah,
they had Open Nationals, they had Teen Junior Nationals, and then they had Masters Nationals all separate.
right.
Um, but
Yeah. I really liked it when women's nationals was a separate event. It was cool.
yeah, I mean, yes, my counter argument to that is like the more lifters in one place at that high level, like the better of
Mm,
the more, I guess, spectacle it feels, the more you feel like something bigger than, you know what I mean? So
right.
like
Right.
even when it was, men's and women's nationals back in the day, like it was cool, but like as soon as they combined men's and women's, it was like, I don't know, it was just so much better to me. I actually like it that way better. So
Mm,
respectfully disagree.
yeah. Well, I'm also of the mindset I don't really uh how do I say this? I don't like when meetings feel like a clusterfuck. Like when there's so much going on and like you're tripping over people in the back in the warm-up room and then like people are like fighting over the warm-up bars and like there's just sometimes a meet can feel like a total clusterfuck. And
Yeah.
when it was smaller and like just women, it just it felt less of a clusterfuck to me. So
Yeah.
that's my
Well, I
personal
think
preference.
so. If you look at the schedule, basically with that concept in mind, like there are no sessions that are men and women combined. So like session
Mm,
one is all women, session two is
mm,
all men, and it's that way every day. The
right,
only mixed one is the prime time.
right,
And for that, it's not going to be a clusterfuck because you got, you
right.
know,
It's
one
less,
platform and 15 warm-up
right.
stations.
I mean, but Raw Nationals, like every single weight class is still stacked out. So it's still gonna be really big.
Oh yeah, it's still going to be
So
huge. It's
it'll be
just, in
huge.
terms of, you still so I like this because it does still give you that, women are not lifting with the men and, whatever. So
Right,
it gives
right, right.
each their own spotlight still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forgot to mention the NGB. So
Oh,
Monday the 30th is the NGB from 9 to 5. So there will be elections for executive committee, athletes representatives, and president.
boy.
Yeah.
So, and those elections happen before NGB, don't they?
I think athletes reps are done beforehand. I know some of the positions are done online ahead of time,
Mm.
but like the real like high up ones are done at the meeting in person.
Ah, okay. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
So
fairly certain the athletes rep was ahead of time
yeah,
because that
I
had
think so. I think you're right.
online
But the executive committee and president will all be done at the NGB.
at the NGB. And those votes are cast only by people that have a voting uh,
Correct. Only voting members that
at the
are at
NGB.
the NGB. Yep. So hint hint, if you are a voting member, your ass needs to be at the NGB.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of president, so we kind of alluded to it a little while ago, a couple episodes ago, but we are going to do for anybody that's running for USA Powerlifting president, they are invited to be on the podcast. And basically, I'm just going to do a quick interview with them, ask them some serious questions, and see what they say. So far to date, I have done more than 0 interviews and less than 100 interviews
Mm. Wow, that's
of
really
presidential
specific.
candidates. Yeah. I don't want to
Mm.
give too much away, but those interviews will be released all together the week of May 28th. So it'll be after the nomination deadline
Mm.
happens. That way, it doesn't influence people running or what people say on the interview.
So if you have a large opinion after listening to these interviews, right? And you're like, man, as a USA Powerlifting member, that's not a voting NGB board member, how would I affect that outcome?
What are you asking?
So if I listen to the interviews, I'm a
Yeah,
USA Powerlifting member, but I'm not an NGB member. And I listen to the interviews and I'm like, damn, so and so is definitely the best candidate. Really, this person's the best candidate. How do I make my voice heard?
gotcha. Okay, that's more clear. Your first question was like, "What the hell are you asking me?" Yeah, so if you are a member, you can reach out to your state chair would probably be the first step. And then also the athletes representatives, I think would be another good avenue. If you really want to like make a campaign and really try to like if you believe that deeply, I mean, all of the voting members' contact information can be found on the USAPL website. So, I mean, you can theoretically email every single one of them and lobby for the person you think that would definitely be kind of annoying to if a lot of people did that. But actual protocols, I would say reach out to your state chair directly and your athletes representatives
Mm,
directly and
yep.
just, tell them how you feel and how you would like the vote to be cast. Because I mean, at the end of the day, those people are elected to represent the voting to
Right.
represent the membership as a whole. So, knowing what the membership wants is important.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry,
Um,
I was trying to like plant that, and I didn't do it very well.
yeah, it was it didn't get under the dirt. It just got washed away by the rain. Never grew.
Oh, gosh. All right.
It's all right.
Anyway,
So I'm going to ask you the powerlifting situation. Let's do it
but I'm
different.
bummed. Okay.
Bump bump. All right, powerlifting situation. You're 2 weeks out from a meet and suddenly develop a nagging pain in your hip during squats. What do you do?
I would probably call training for squats pretty much done anyway at that point. Like you've put in the strength that you're going to put in. You've done the work. You felt it, and you probably want to still, keep some movement in there. But I would drastically drop any plans for putting heavy weight on the bar, like a lot, to a lot. Yeah, drop it by a lot is what I'm saying. Like, um, keep moving.
You're trying to speak so
Ah,
complex that it's just coming out as like what?
that. Yeah. I would probably try to drop it so that you keep moving, but it doesn't hurt. Like if it means an empty barbell or a 135-pound squat to the point where it doesn't hurt, like you want to remove the hurting part, right? Because whatever you're doing is going to piss it off worse if it's hurting already. And then I would probably try to introduce a little bit more mobility, see if I can get a massage, maybe some dry needling to get whatever it is like kind of diagnosed and released. Because if you proceed like nothing's going on, you are kind of setting yourself up for disaster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like if you got a flat tire on your car, it doesn't reinflate itself if you just stop driving it for a while and then get in and drive it a week later.
right.
In this case, sometimes like if it's inflammation, so that not squatting, that may actually help a little bit. But there's active things you can do, like you said, you know, possibly chiropractor adjustment, massage, dry needling, all of those things. Shoot, physical therapy, even if it's like really bad. I mean, there's things you can do actively to help address it. So yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Oh, good. I got something right. Aha.
Hey.
All right. New lifter tip. Don't cut weight for your first meet. Boy,
Yep.
that's pretty simple, actually. Compete at your current weight, focus on performance and learning the meat flow rather than manipulating your body weight.
Yeah, you don't need the extra factors to stress over. You know, I think so many people like come in and one that newer lifters they don't always know how to cut weight, so they end up like they just stop eating for a couple days and then sit in the sauna for a couple hours before weigh-ins, and they just get to the meet to compete and they're just wrecked. I think it's one factor you definitely don't need as a first time lifter, even
Right.
just new lifter in general. It doesn't even have to be your first. Excuse me. It doesn't even have to be your first meet. First couple meets. Sometimes it's not worth cutting weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you try to cut weight or get in the sauna or stop eating, like you're just asking to be weaker at the meet. Like, let's not do
Yeah, plus your chance of injury goes up too if you're just not
that. Yeah,
functioning at 100%. So
right. Absolutely.
random BS. What do you got?
Random BS. Okay. I'm trying to remember because I can't remember what we talked about the
I
last podcast.
I
This one
can't either.
was
That's man,
several before.
we could be
I,
saying the same thing every week and
yeah,
everybody
we
knows
might.
except
We
us.
probably are. We probably are. All right. So I think I talked about how the queen lays drones without it being fertilized. The,
Yes.
the boys. Okay. So how about this? Drones don't have a stinger. So if you ever are like, man, I just want to kind of play with a honeybee, find a drone and go ahead. Yeah, drones don't have a
But
stinger.
most of the honeybees are drones though, right? Isn't
Correct.
it?
And the only way you're really going to find a drone is to go into the hive. So I don't
Yeah,
really
wait,
think
the
you
only
should
way
do
you're going to
that.
find the only way you're going to find a queen is to go into the hive.
Well, you can't find drones really hanging out either.
I thought the drones were the ones that flew out and did everything, the ones that you
The,
see.
no, the ones that you see are not drones. Those are worker bees. Those are gatherers. Those are females. All the
Oh,
honeybees that you see out on flowers are all girls. So the
I'm
only
glad you
thing the men
clarified because
do,
I would be telling everybody like, "Hey, if you see honeybees, you could go play with them because they're
grab it.
drones."
No, no. So drones are like you can tell the difference between a female and a drone. Drones are bigger and thicker, and they have really big eyes. So they often like when people are new to beekeeping, they often mistake drones for being the queen because they're like, oh, that one looks really big. And there's definitely less drones than there are, female honeybees, workers and gatherers, and the ones that are going out and collecting pollen and nectar and such. But the drones basically are either in the hive or they're looking for a queen up in the drone congregation area, wherever that may be. So the drones hang out all together, waiting for a young queen to come by.
The Gentle Bees Club.
The Gentle Bees Club, yes. Yeah, they're just looking to get laid, really. That's basically that's their whole mission in life. I know. It's such a far cry from humans. So the drones eat, sleep, and try to get with the queen.
Yeah.
The tragic thing about a drone's life is like only like 1 in 1,000 actually get to achieve their dream of, getting with a queen
Hmm.
because they're the only ones that they can actually, get with. But
Why is that?
when
So what? So this is why can't drone? Because drones are male.
yep,
All the worker bees are female. Why can't they do their
um,
deal?
they I don't know if they can, let's say, copulate, but they can't fertilize eggs correctly. They can lay eggs, but anytime they lay an egg, it's unfertilized, so it can only be a drone. And they don't lay eggs very well. And yeah, like the worker bees can't, if you don't have a queen that's fertilizing eggs on a regular basis and getting more females, your hive will completely die. So I actually think that females can't copulate, but I'll have to, I mean, the regular females can't copulate, but they can lay eggs, but they can't be fertilized. So anyway, when the drones finally make their dreams come true, they die. At that moment where they are successfully able to deliver their genetic material into the queen, we'll say, is so explosive that it blows their dick off and they die. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know, kind of rude, isn't it? Like Mother Nature, so rude.
So they
Um,
spend their whole life like that's the only thing that they care about, and then
yeah,
when
and
it
then when they
finally
achieve it,
happens, they die.
they die. Yeah,
Wow, what a shit
they
life.
die. Yeah, and when they do die, they it's very explosive in the fact that they basically blow up, their dick blows off and it kills them. It releases a scent onto the queen bee that says, "Hey, here she is, other drones, here you go." And then those other drones also go, "Hey, I smell this, and I'm gonna also die the best way I can possibly die." So they, yeah, get into the action. So yeah,
This is making me
bloodbath.
feel weird, like uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, there you go. The queen will go out for a couple mating flights to, collect genetic material from as many males as she can lure to their deaths in that amount of time. And it's typically like somewhere between 9 and 20 that she mates with in that time. And then she goes back to the hive and she never leaves again.
Between 9 and 20, those are very specific numbers.
I know, right? It's kind of odd. I don't know. That's just what I've read. She wants to get a diverse set of genetics inside her, let me just say, because diversity in nature is good, right? So if only one male got with her, then it might not be as, a good outcome as a lot. But in a couple of flights, 3 or 4 maybe tops. And every time she goes out, she leaves the hive, she's going out and, it's risk. Will she even make it back? So there's risk to the hive. So she'll only go out as many times as she feels that she needs to collect enough generic material to lay eggs for the rest of her life. She'll never leave again. And she is not the actual matriarch of she's not the one that makes all the decisions in the hive itself. That is actually a democracy. And we'll talk about that the next time. So the queen makes no decisions. Yeah, it's a democracy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really actually kind of cool. And this whole people have whole degrees just on honeybee stuff. Honeybee stuff. Yeah, that's the degree.
They have a Bachelor of Science, a BS in BS.
BS and BS. Yes. I think it's specifically entomology, and then there's like a direction in what the bee study is and their thesis and all that, but it's pretty crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whole books.
Well,
anyway,
I'll just let you read them all, and you can just give me the Cliff Notes version of all the cool stuff.
The version of I can just picture boy bees hanging out at the bar waiting for the queen to come through, and then she does her walk of shame back after she's had a rough night, and then she never leaves again.
But
yeah,
so none of them would ever be like Pretty Woman, where she just finds that one and gives up the lifestyle, because that doesn't work. Yeah, man.
Nope.
So bees will never be Pretty Woman.
Nope. No, Julia Roberts bee.
Man,
she gets around.
Got it.
Yeah, there you go. So
okay,
with that, stay strong.
Yeah. I got to go do something else. This is weird. This is just weird. It's intriguing, but it's weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. There is.
Yeah.
But that just kind of summarizes my life.
Awesome.
A lot of weird stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds about right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I will see you all next week. Thanks for listening.
Right.
Later.
Right. See ya.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.